Assalamu alaikum, day 13 of Ramadan. I want to continue. Previously, I had mentioned about the word wahi, and I want to be clear about this. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the Khatam al-Anbiya. There is no revealed message to anyone after him. So I don't want you to be confused and say, oh, but she said it's possible to get inspiration and revelation only connected to what is already there. So just get that clear now, okay? And as far as the lahad, how you're buried and why it protects you, we can never be certain because there's so much Hollywood distortion. Were you there? Did you see the person buried? No, but I'm sure you saw all of the gigantic, statuesque, almost like homes, villas. I mean, especially in America. If you ever go to graves, you're going to see like little mini homes, little mini mansions over the ground, as though that's going to protect them. And literally, many of them are not in the ground. They call them crypts. And it's a very European thing. However, they began to do that later on, not in the early colonial period. And if you ever go to Europe, especially France, you know their kings, the way they were buried. They were buried in churches above the ground, in their, you could call it, I don't know what you'd call it. There must be a word we're in. They would put that body and they would encase it in some form of silver, bronze, gold covering, where it would represent who was inside it, who was under it, the king. And they would form the facial features to look exactly like the king, and they would put it on a pedestal, and people would come and visit it and touch it and kiss it. Of course, who knows if the real body is in there? But I just want to clarify this because on my new channel, which will come after Ramadan, I'm going to do a lot of historical renditions, whether they be fallacies or not. They will be, I don't want to say tidbits, snippets. I just want to make it short and sweet. Certain things that have to be known by Muslims that are not known by them, because the shuyukh never taught them, because the shuyukh never knew. But now you're here in America. You have to know. You have to know the history of the country you live in, and who did what, and who said what, and what's what right about now. Because now we're in a trying time. We don't subad dahar. In this book especially, don't curse the times. Fa'ana dahar. Allah said, don't curse the times. I am the times. Always be optimistic and always turn to Allah when you get unsettled feelings. Okay, so now for today's lesson, I have prepared, so much. There's so much, but I know there's so much and so little time. I have prepared things about bida. Now, bida is innovation. Things that were invented by some people either deliberately in disobedience to the Prophet Muhammad or in ignorance. Now, ignorance, Ibn Taymiyya's, shall I say fatwa, or Ibn Taymiyya says, al-hujja bi jahala. You are not going to be held responsible while you're ignorant. It's after you've received some knowledge, some warnings, after you know. Then you will be held as a disobedient sinner. I love Ibn Taymiyya because he cuts to the chase. Silly, I know, to use American euphemisms, but I just can't help it. He doesn't beat around the bush. He gets to the conclusion in Aqidah. And that's why he's most well known for Aqidah, which is why the majority of Shuyukh didn't accept him. They didn't like him, and they succeeded in having him in prison many times. And he died in prison. So when I do my historical channel, we're going to deal with some things about him, because you'll find out when we get there, because we don't want to go over our 10 minutes. Okay. I always do it early like this, because I always say I only have like a half an hour to eat. And I have prepared it earlier, but somehow Shaitan is just getting at me now, saying, will you hurry up? You have to have your last cup of coffee before the cutoff. Do you think I need another cup of coffee? It's whispering, yeah. You always have to worry about it, because he never stops. Now, when we talk about bida, we have to know that Prophet Muhammad is the one that we should copy. He is our role model. You know, you heard the story about how he would pray all night. He was just completely obsessed with praying a long time. And his feet would swell. And people would say, what's that about? Why are you doing this? You're obviously Prophet Muhammad. Why are you torturing yourself like this? And he said in a hadith sahih, Bukhari, أَفَلَا أَكُونُ عَبْدًا شَكُورًا? Isn't it right and just that I be a thankful servant? وَقَدْ غَفَرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِهِ وَمَا تَأَخَّرَ. The comment here is, he has been forgiven for what he has put forth and what he has delayed. هذا تحقيق الإرادة العظيمة. أما الرسالة, this is telling you that this is such a clear proof. As for the Quran, فهو رسول الله أرسله الله. Allah sent him with the Quran. بأعظم الشريعة إلى جميع الخلق. أعظم الشريعة, the best way to all humanity. فبلغها غاية البلاغ. And he explicitly explained it in the utmost غاية البلاغ. It means the greatest extent. مع أنه أوذي وقتل. Although he was harmed and fought against. حتى إنهم جاء بي. No matter what they used to do to him, they would throw the entrails on his back when he was praying of dead animals. ومع ذلك الصبر. He didn't react. He was patient. يلقون الأذى وأقاذير على أتباع on his doorstep. Now this happened to me. I'm just telling you this, not out of any form of self-praise, but I must tell you because it's the truth. It really happened to me. When my son and I came to America when he was 15, we rented in a large apartment complex. And our first Eid, my son was 15, and we were going to the Eid prayer. And we lived on the first floor. In other words, you walk in the door, straight ahead there's, apartments, however you call them, in an apartment building. They were on the ground floor. We were one floor up. They call it the first floor. And let's go, we're ready, let's go. And I came out first. My son was directly behind me. I walked down a few steps to get out to where the exit door was. And on the last step, there was a pile of dog poo. On the Eid. I said, stop. I said to my son, stop. I said, go get me some paper towels. He said, what is it, Mom? I said, just give me the paper towels. And he brought the paper towels. And he saw it. And he knew what it was. He lived in Egypt. And I don't think he knew that story, that they did that to Prophet Muhammad. But he knew enough to not even, just let's not talk about it. It's Eid, okay? This is an irritant. It was a deliberate irritant. Hasn't stopped though, has it? I'm sure there are those people right around me right now. So I remind you of the previous lesson. With the Arab hung his sword up in front of Prophet Muhammad on the tree and said, who can prevent me from using it on you? In other words, did Prophet Muhammad said, no, I have my Sahaba all around me. They're my guards. Prophet Muhammad said, no, Allah will stop you. SubhanAllah. This is why they don't like this book. Okay? Are you starting to get it now? The meaning of Tawheed. Remember what Quran says. Let's just say it right now to end this lesson. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد لكم دينكم ولي دين. This is a repetitive, this is a surah, it's called Al-Kafirun, of disbelievers. And that's why Allah keeps repeating it, so it will get into your head. It's difficult for the youth when they start to try to memorize Surah Al-Kafirun, because it's repetitive. But the essence is, you don't believe like I do, and I don't believe like you do. And in the end, lakum dinakum waliya din. You have your deen, and I have my deen. So now where is all of this misrepresentation, lying, deliberate lying? Prophet Muhammad was so evil, so violent. Did you hear what I just said? About how he didn't react? He just had complete trust in Allah. He could not be forced to make a wrong move. Until, and what is the until? When you try to stop the Dawa. That's the only reason Muslims can, should, would, will fight. Why? Allah orders them to. We're not going to force anyone to be like us. We're not going to punish anyone for not being like us. We're not going to react to fools when we know they're trying to lay traps. Look, they threw entrails, dead entrails, on his back while he's praying. They lie, but Allah knows they lie. So this is where the sincerity comes in, the ikhlas. Allah knows what's in your heart. He knows what you're doing. He knows why you're doing it. And if you have Tawheed khalis, it means it has no shubuhat. It's not mixed with anything. It's pure. Until the bida creeps in. Now, I said I was going to do this about bida. I'm going to have to do another lesson. It's 14 minutes. Bida means innovation. Adding, subtracting, tweaking the deen. It's wrong. We have a perfect way to follow. Quran and Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad. But some people really hate the Sunnah because there's details in the Sunnah. recorded in ahadith, and that's why they fight the ahadith. It's all quite easy to figure out. If you know the basic premises, then it's on you to read the Quran and get this Kitab al-Tawheed, okay? You don't have to get this one. Get a shortened version. It's only the Arabic lovers that really would go for this because there's no other way. Beginning, you can read English. But I'm recommending that you learn the truth. I once wrote a little grammar book, and I called it The Truth, the words of the truth, because there's no real 100% absolutely verifiable truth other than the words of Allah. So who's going to teach you the words of Allah? He will. He will if you ask him. Because there's a verse in the Quran that says, Sayakfiyakum Allah. Allah is enough for you. Think about it. He said that. It's in the Quran. So when you want to go around looking for humans, I'm getting back to my, I don't know how I can call it. I'm always saying those humans, you don't need them. But Allah put them here to help you and serve you, if He will. But if there's no humans around, Sayakfiyakum Allah. Allah is enough, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.